talk to Dean Marlowe on the line with us now. Bills defensive back since 2017, came from Carolina. Dean, Steve Tasker, and Matty Glab, thanks for taking a couple of minutes and coming on with us. How you doing?
No problem. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Now, tell us a little bit. You were in the news because you publicly said, listen, my wife but first of all, congratulations on your marriage. I know you haven't been married that long, so I think you're still in the congratulatory mode, right? You haven't moved out of that?
Of course. Yeah, we went straight from the wedding to quarantine.
Perfect. There you go. Yeah, it's like good for you. Okay. I'm not even gonna go there. That's awesome. Let me just say, I also got to applaud you too. You made it clear in this last week that you and your wife, you said, listen, I want to volunteer to come out and clean up the protests that started out as peaceful, and there's a ton of, and we're all about the peaceful protesters, but the periphery and the violence and the vandalism that went on and the looting and that kind of stuff is always outside the lines. And you volunteered to come in and volunteer to clean up. Tell us about that, what brought you to that and how that went. What happened after you did volunteer?
So we obviously we knew what was going on, around the city, around the world. And, me and my wife, we've been here for a couple years, and, we embrace the city, like it's ours. I know we're not from here, but I mean, when you're a Buffalo Bill, when you're a resident, it's just something about Buffalo that is extremely blue collar, and it's like a different city that no one really can experience. It's just the people here are great, and it's just we seen what went on, and we wanted to help. I mean, I feel like the first thing that came to our mind is like, what can we do to be better and help? Like, I know there's a lot of bad things going on, but what can we do to help? And, I was like, if anybody can reach out to us and we can meet up with somebody and try to go clean up and, just respond in a way of like love and just appreciation for one another. And we went outside and we walked around downtown. My wife talked to a couple of people that she knows around the city, and she was telling us different areas that were more destructive than others, and blah, blah. We live downtown Buffalo. So by the time we got out there, I mean, everything was like extremely clean and things were boarded up. But, just for this whole past week, we're our offer's still on the table. If anybody needs help with anything, and if anybody wants to talk about anything, we're here to help people and do the right thing.
Dean, you being in the NFL and the athlete that you are, you have a bigger platform and a bigger voice than some people are given. So with what's going on in our world right now, with the platform that you have, what's your reaction to what's been going on, and how can we help in times like this? And not just today, not just tomorrow. How can we help forever?
Well, it's interesting because, I'm a biracial kid. My mom's white, my dad's black. I have a whole bunch of white family members. I have a whole bunch of black family members. And I never grew up, thinking about what color was and how I look at somebody towards, what color they are. And, I'll just say, I mean, life is just about people. It's not about color. We're all different. We all grew up with different backgrounds, and it doesn't mean that we all have to be argumentative against each other. And there are a lot of peaceful protesters, and I stand for the peaceful protesters, and fighting for human rights should be done, like I said in my tweet last week. But there are a lot of people who are taking advantage of that. And, there's also a lot of innocent people who are losing their lives in these riots. And, I think their lives matter too. And, my mom, she was a 20-year NYPD officer. She's retired now. And, I have family members who are cops. I got cousins who are cops. I have my stepdad is a retired sergeant. So there are great cops. There are great cops. And there are, you got to take the good with the bad. And there's good people. There's bad people. So, I know that everyone is angry about the whole injustice going on, but at the end of the day, we have to come together. And if you put everybody in the dark room, we all look alike. and we all can help each other. And my biggest thing I would say is, proximity breeds empathy. And if we all come together, become close, we can understand and listen and learn and educate ourselves on, how someone grew up and their whole life lessons.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dean. And it's true that during all this thing, you talk about the injustice that kind of incited this with the police brutality. You know as well as anybody, because your family members are police, there are good and bad in the police department. There's good and bad in the peaceful protesters. There's good and bad even in the rioters and looters. And there's good and bad in just us who are sitting at home watching it on TV.
Yep, there's good and bad.
And somehow we've got to reach out and understand each other in a better way so that none of us have to do things that are unjust in the eyes of all of us.
Yep, I totally agree.
I gotta tell you too. You say you live in downtown Buffalo. Have you made Buffalo your home throughout the entire season or year round?
Yeah. Me and the wife are looking to buy a home in Cali. Towards the end of this year, I'll probably say we're going house hunting in a little bit in the next couple months and trying to see what fits us best. But yes, like during the off season, we make Buffalo home here for the last 2 years.
That's good to hear, and I got to ask you too. This has been a tough off season. It's been a different. You got, like you said, and I'll just say, you've had it better this off season than most of us, being a newlywed. I'll just say that. So you're better to hunker down than anybody. But I'll say this as well. It's been tough it's got to be tough to stay in shape. I mean, Buffalo, the weather here was cruddy all the way through April and mostly of May too. It was hard to stay in shape. Everything was done virtually. What have you been doing to get ready for this season, living in Buffalo and particularly living downtown Buffalo?
Yeah, so I had to, do some research. Our strength coaches did an awesome job giving us information and contact information for people who have workout stuff. So, I bought a whole workout gym and put it in our house. It's like in our living dining area in the middle, and we got the weights, we got everything, we have the band, and then we bought a Peloton, so we have a Peloton to do some cardio, and then me and a couple of guys who are still here, we've migrated to a high school field, and we go out about 2 to 3 times a week and work on our craft and condition and all that stuff. So it's been tough, and it's been draining and it's hard. But at the end of the day, if you approach it with the right attitude, it's all going to be worth it at the end.
Dean, we've been talking about the versatility on this roster from offense to defense. You're now seeing a lot of players that you can put them in the conversation of being positionless. Yes, they fit into a category, but they have a lot of versatility with how they play. And I think I look at someone like you as a player who fits into that conversation in that category. You play on special teams, but you've really earned a role, especially this last season, playing that big nickel role on this defense, which is becoming more and more prominent in the NFL. How important is that for you to be versatile and to have found a niche on this roster where you can use your craft?
Oh yeah, so I go by, longevity is determined by, the more you can do. And I'm a versatile player, like you said, and I just think it comes down to your mental capacity, and to play the role that I have, you have to have a good mental capacity as well as physical talent. You have to be a leader, and you just got to be a playmaker. I think I'm a resilient player, and every opportunity I get when I'm on the field with all the guys, it's go time, and I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity that I have and continue to have being here in Buffalo. But it's the way my mind works is whenever you get the opportunity to go on the field is make it or break it. You gotta make the play.
We're talking with Dean Marlowe, safety for the Buffalo Bills. He's a defensive back. He's been with the Bills since 2017, came from Carolina. He's entering his 5th season in the National Football League. We've been talking, Dean, about the season coming up and about whether the fact that there may or may not be fans in the stands. And when you look at the schedule that you guys are going to have, you got late in the season, you guys got a bunch of primetime games. You got a 4 o'clock game. You got some Monday night, Sunday night games. You guys are going to be looked at a lot. And what do you think that will be like if you play the entire season without games or without fans or without too many fans or without those kind of things? How do you think that'll affect you? And what does it mean to have a primetime game and not have anybody in the stands to watch?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, in Buffalo, New York, we got the best fans in America. So without them being there, we're going to have to dig deep mentally. We're going to have to dig deep because the NFL is just all about the fans. And for us to not have that, if that does occur, it's going to be hard. But, Coach is going to do everything he can to put us in the right position to know mentally for us to play the game. And just, it's going to be just like practice. And, we practice more than we play, so it's nothing that we wouldn't be used to. But it'll be difficult, be interesting to see. But if they can make some crowd noise, if they can do something with the technology that is in now today's age is to make it as real as possible, that would be awesome. But, there's nothing like Bills Mafia being there on Sunday afternoon or Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night.
Dean, this team made a lot of moves this offseason, from offense to defense. Steph Diggs, a lot of new players on this defensive line. What the Bills did in the draft, A.J. Epinesa, Zach Moss. When you step back and you look at the roster now, what are your thoughts on this team going into 2020?
I think that we have a lot of players that are full of grit. They seem to want to work so hard to continue to show out for their teammates, and I think everyone has a winning mentality. And when you can bring everyone together that approaches the game like that, and not just the game, but their preparation, their effort, and their attitude, and you have all that in one building. And it seems to me that, the guys that I did play with in Carolina, there's a lot of them here. There's a young group of guys who we just brought in, seem to be on the right track. We have great coaches that put them in the right spots for them to succeed. And, I'm excited for when we can get back to Buffalo and just see everyone come together and really get after this thing.
Talk to us a little bit about that pipeline. I was saying that it's been kind of nice because, like you and Starlo Tulele, coaches, GMs, scouts, personnel guys, and the staff guys in the front office, let alone the players, there's a bunch of guys that came from Carolina. And, I guess they can stop doing it when they get a bad one, I guess, because they really haven't done that. I think all the guys they've gotten from that organization, you think back to the time that was a Super Bowl organization, you got to be really happy with how it has worked out. And what has it done to the dynamic in the locker room when you see yet another guy come from Carolina? It's got to be fun. You kind of got to laugh about it, right?
Yeah, you do. I mean, we get a lot of jokes saying that this is the Buffalo Panthers and things like that. But I can tell you that I think from Brandon Beane to Sean McDermott to Eric Washington to me, Starr, A.J. Klein, Mario Addison, Josh Norman, all of us, we were all together on that 2015 Super Bowl team. And we all have that mindset of wanting to win and a sense of togetherness and knowing your role and how to compliment your teammate. And it not even just stems through playing on the field. It's things off the field. It's, hanging out, developing relationships with the wives and everyone coming together. And, that's how our team was in 2015. And I see that sense coming together with this team. And it started last year. And, it really started when, McDermott and Beane got here in 2017. But, as the years go on, I see it. We just start to click more and click more and click more, and it's interesting, and I love to see it. And I think we're headed, from a track from being good to now we got to take that step to being great.
Hey, Dean, thanks for this. It's great seeing you. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us, and we wish you the best this offseason. We can't wait to see you on the field.
Thank you.